Hello, welcome back to another video. I'm Brittany, and today we're going to talk about loneliness. I've always felt there was a lot of taboo about talking about being lonely, and there really isn't any reason for that. I've gotten fairly used to being alone. I grew up as an only child. It was a very quiet house. For the most part, I didn't have a lot of friends to play with growing up. We lived out in the country, so people didn't come over all the time. That whole ride your bike to your friend's house never really happened for me. And as I grew up, I moved away. I now have a sales job that keeps me on the road and traveling alone some parts of the year. So I'm alone a decent amount, perhaps not as much as the average person that lives alone. But at 33, I honestly thought that I would have a lot more friends around me, have a bigger community, have a tighter community, but most of my friends live back up north where I grew up. And I don't hang out with a whole lot of friends down here. Not near as many as what I would like. If you don't have a problem with loneliness, then this probably isn't the video for you. There might not be any helpful tips in it. But in this video, I'm going to talk about ways that I purposely combat the loneliness in a way that makes me feel better and more fulfilled. And the way this is really going to center is about getting out of the house and getting immersed into people. Now that might be a huge kind of step for the introverts. Even if you're an introvert, getting out of the house and getting around people can fill your social meter, even if you barely interact with them. Which brings me to point number one, being around a large group of people. Now, this could be a concert. I live down in Orlando, so I can go to Disney Springs and shop and be around a whole bunch of people with a lot of energy. That has a huge positive effect on my social meter. Now, you personally might find that exhausting, and that's fine, but for me, just being around people and not having to interact with them, but you still feel their joy and their energy, I think that that can be very uplifting. So if you're in a funk, I think that that is a great way to get yourself out of it. Like I said previously, that can be a huge step to just get out of the house. And so that kind of brings me to my second point, and that is make a plan for the day. Just writing down what you want to accomplish, and one of those things being go here, do this, can be so great. Not only do you get the satisfaction of crossing it off your list for accomplishing it, but two, you make it a point to say that this is important enough to write down as something I'm going to do that day. So anytime I'm going to run an errand out of the house, because sometimes just getting out of the house is like the biggest hurdle, at least for me. Actually walking out the door seems to be my biggest personal hurdle. I'd love to hear what your hurdle is. If it's putting on your shoes, or it's actually putting on real clothes to go outside. I'd love to hear what your biggest hurdle is to get out in the world alone. Once I'm out that door, I feel a whole lot better. So I make sure anytime I am running an errand, then it's going on my to-do list for that day. So number three, as I'm talking about going out into the world, that is going out into the world during the daytime. Now, I'll go out for nighttime activities. I just went a couple weeks ago to a nighttime fundraiser, and that was super fun. But even for that, I left during the daylight. I don't know exactly what it is. It could be growing up in the country and after dark, nothing really happened. Where I grew up, the daytime was the time. Nobody really went out or did anything after dark. But here in the city, things are happening almost 24 hours a day. Events are starting at 8 p.m. and going till 3 a.m. So you just like never know what's kind of going on at what time. But my internal dialogue still says, oh, it's nighttime. We don't go outside during the nighttime. That's for staying in and getting ready for the next day, eating dinner. So I found when I was trying to make a goal to get out into the world more, getting out during the day made it a whole lot easier. If you find yourself really resisting going out, then I would analyze why. Like, what are the feelings behind it? What are the continual concerns that are running in your head? For me, it was always, oh, it's dark outside. And so once I realized that, I have so much of an easier time getting out during the day. A movie is a perfect example of that. I love going to the movies, but a lot of times I would like get to the evening and then skip it and be like, I don't want to go. And I was like, that feeling makes no sense to me. I was like, why do I want to go? I love going to the movies. And the reason was, oh, I don't want to go out. I don't want to drive at night. I don't want to walk into the theater alone at night. It just made me feel a little unsafe. And so that's an extra hurdle that you don't need to put on yourself. I have a flexible schedule. I can work at night and go out to the movies during the day. And now I do. And I have a much, much more enjoyable time. Talking about the movies actually brings me to point 4. And that is, do activities that don't bring out the loneliness. Now, I do a whole bunch of activities and some bring it out and some don't. So you need to figure out what triggers the loneliness feeling for you. For me, safe things are going to the movies. And I can now go out to eat, and that's perfectly fine. For a lot of people, that's a huge trigger. That'll be point 5 in just a minute. Shopping is a huge solo activity for me. It's way more fun with a partner, but it doesn't necessarily trigger loneliness for me. Going and walking around a zoo or a museum, I think, are great solo activities. A lot of times there's not a whole lot of interaction with the person that you're with during those activities, and so it's fine doing them alone because you're not necessarily missing that back and forth interaction. I personally really like going to the movies alone, and I really, really enjoy going to Disney's Animal Kingdom alone and just walking all the paths and seeing what animals are out. Super fun for me. I would love more ideas though. So if there's things that you like to go do alone, please send them to me. I need more ideas. I would love to be inspired a little bit more and hear what you guys are kind of doing by yourself. But I mentioned going out to eat. And so that's what I'm going to talk about in point 5. If going out to eat is a goal, and for me it is non-optional. I'm a huge foodie, love food, love trying new places, love trying new dishes. I have a Yelp Elite badge, so I need to go out and try new restaurants. I also really, really enjoy making short form content about food. So to do that, I need to go out and eat at restaurants. And sometimes there's not someone to go out to dinner or lunch with. I can sit at a table now by myself and it doesn't bother me. But if that is too big of a hurdle for you, then I would try one of 2 things. One being go and sit at a bar. Lots of times there's a whole bunch of singles sitting at bars. People are more social at the bar. You don't have to drink whenever you're there. If you feel awkward not drinking while sitting at a bar, then I would suggest ordering something that people might not immediately recognize as non-alcohol. So sparkling water with a lime, perhaps. That might get you over the mental hurdle of, oh, I'm at a bar, I need to have a drink. The other option is to go to restaurants where there will be more chance of people eating alone. So go to more quick service restaurants during the lunch hour. A lot of times you'll see a lot of working people out having lunch by themselves on their lunch break, and that might make you feel better about also sitting alone. The last tip that I have about combating the loneliness and getting yourself out of the house to be more social is to treat yourself while you're out. You might have found me with like some of my other dog training videos, but I think that there's a lot to learn in translating how to train a dog into how to transition your mind into better thinking. And some of this is positive referencing. So treat yourself while you're out by yourself. That might be getting yourself a new fall Starbucks drink, or grabbing an ice cream cone on the way home, or stopping and taking a walk around your favorite nearby lake. Whatever treat yourself means to you, then I would definitely try to incorporate that on a regular basis while being alone. It'll help build up a really positive association with it, and you might actually start to crave it here and there. And that's going to be kind of the last thing I want to touch on. If you're still here with me, I really appreciate it, and I really would love it if you would hit subscribe. We travel here, we have some heart-to-heart chats. My dog Luna makes an appearance here usually about once a month, and we do some fun things together. And personally, I would just love to have you here in my comments. But let's finish up talking about loneliness in general and how it's totally normal and totally okay. It's completely normal to feel lonely some of the time, and you feel like you want to change that, then that's who this video is supposed to help. And I hope that it has. I really appreciate you joining me for this video. Maybe you're sitting down with me having a cup of coffee, or maybe you're getting ready for the day. But I just really appreciate you being here and watching this video. I'll be back shortly with another one. Until then, bye.